I write my song till the last one is gone. My streets are changing, my pace quickens now.
Rule Britannia!
No longer safe, indoors we wait. Only numbers save us now. Islam rules, cause the government fools, just tools, breaking the rules and making more for anyone not cool. Life shy for the white working Englishman.
Okay.
What he can, work around the clock to make his living. A family he can't give in, he can't give out. He's a slave, a guy that entrapped soul. No goal other than look out the window and back to work. I bet it's been a while since you put yourself first. Well, tonight's patriots on guard. Oh yeah, yeah, patriots on guard. So you can sleep now. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh.
Commander War, but don't be a cunt.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh. I see the
Kill everyone on the bridge.
Having a ball!
good kill for stars because the girls are home.
You, Mr. Rascal.
They run
My name is Owen Jones,
on
a renowned drama
the
queen,
call.
pseudo-intellectual and champagne socialist.
A Southampton patriot alone, but it's with my people. Oh, yeah, it's with
Shut
my
the fuck
people.
up.
We stand and we fight and it's alright, cause we never back down. We face the day without a frown. We take this piss and we enjoy this night to make us smile. I bet it's been a while since you laughed a lot. I bet it's quite a while since you put yourself first. Well, tonight sleep safe. Patriots on guard. Oh yeah, yeah, patriots on guard. So you can sleep now. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh. So you can sleep now. Yeah. Quite a while since you put yourself first. Well, tonight sleep
Hey guys, I'm Tom Fury and this is Zero News. Full disclosure, even though it may say this is live, this is not live, this is pre-recorded slightly earlier. I was up working on a couple of different videos I've been making till 5 o'clock this morning and back up at 7:30, so I'm burning the candle at both ends. So I thought we'd pre-record this now while I got the energy. So I wanted to just wade in on this jury without trial business. We do all understand, don't we, left or right, that this is the way in which you create crimes, and in terms of crimes committed by these people themselves, by the law itself. And someone said it best yesterday in somebody's comment section. I don't know if it was mine or somebody else, but they said 1,000 years of history wiped away in like that. And that's the point with these things, with the jury trials and things like that. What we're doing, and what the left likes to do especially, is smash down things because they exist, and they call it progressive to change things and move on. And in some cases there could be some truth to it. But in something like this is important because it's taken a very long time. Bear in mind, we were the most sophisticated country in the world for quite some time, until not long ago. It's things like developments like the jury trials and things like that. You're having the right to be tried by a jury of your peers. That was for a very good humanitarian reason and reasons of fairness. If there was a load of data that suggested that jury trials were the least fair, if there was data that could be provided to prove that they were the least accurate, then you might have an argument, but there's not. There's no perfect way of administering the law, but having it's generally considered, rather than a piece of paper which is just black and white in both how it looks, but also in the way that it interprets law. A computer, the same thing, it's one way or the other. You need humans to deal with certain things, and not a piece of paper, not a piece of legislation. You need a jury to come to certain decisions. And this has been worked out over, by blood, by mistakes, by injustices, by multiple crimes that have been committed by monarchs and other people over thousands of years of history in this country. And the reason that we have the systems that we have now, or what's left of them, is because these were the fairest systems. Admittedly, they've been misused now because somehow people have managed to bastardize them. But these systems were set in place to balance out unfairness. That's why a lot of the courts and everything else have got the scales over them. It was to balance out unfairness. It was to meter out the law fairly. Because why take out of your workforce innocent people when they could be paying tax and things like that? Even if it's a selfish reason, you can understand why it wouldn't make any sense. So you would want, and just out of every person's need to be tried fairly. We know juries can get paid off and things like that, but they are special circumstances. We know that generally speaking, a jury is probably the best way to do a lot of trials, which is why we have them in the first place. Because again, it's been, we've made all the mistakes. We've made all the mistakes over our long history. You've only got to read even a century and a half ago, and you start to see the rapid decline in the way that we administer law and how it was just barbaric not that long ago. And, even things like this, like having a jury trial, even that wasn't perfect because they were, often corrupt and rigged and everything else. So it's taken a long time to get the freedoms we've got, freedom of speech and everything else, and the right to things like jury trials. Anybody that tries to hide this under the idea of being progressive is a damn liar or a damn fool, because this is going backwards. This is going right backwards. And it will put the government and anybody, the court itself, it will put them all kind of above the law. They already are, but it will put them above scrutiny. It will put them above scrutiny in a lot of ways. And it means that we already see what happens when there is no jury, because we've seen it through our canary in the coal mine, Tommy Robinson. We see what happens to him when it's passed straight down from the government straight through to the judges. What happens most of the time? So we know that that's why, say, like Tommy has always said, I want a trial by jury, because he always believed he would fare better, because it wasn't coming directly from a government source, which it inevitably does. So it's really important to have these things, because otherwise what you end up with, and what we had before, and this is a scary part, what we already had in this country, is people getting tried for their religious beliefs, people getting tried for their some of their social beliefs, people getting tried for just being disliked and then accused of something that there's no witnesses or anything else. It was a horrid kind of climate in terms of the law, and we made all the mistakes of torture and everything else. And I'm not saying we're going to go back to torture, but when you take away things like this, you're taking away, you're not being progressive, or you're really dumb, because you're taking away a part that is fallible, but it's the part that makes it fair. And what you're doing instead is you're taking away any kind of public accountability, or accountability in public, of the judges, of the entire legal system, and the people that are operating within it. And it just means that it makes it so much easier just to politically assassinate people legally, using the law like they've been doing now, but they've been doing it with certain people at certain times. This would make it so that there would be very few things that they would need to do it for, meaning that they can just make up their minds themselves. Look at, right? If that sounds far-fetched, that Starmer has deliberately come down on certain people very hard because they are who they are. You know this. So the idea that they don't go after certain people, and that is, we know that they do. So what's the upside of all this? Somebody's posted here today, I don't know if this is fact, but it seems to be a generally supported post. So I'm not going to say it is fact, but it looks like it's quite genuine. It says, okay, this is important. The media are reporting David Lammy would need to pass new primary legislation to get rid of most trials by jury, but that's not quite right. Recent changes, including the Judicial Review and Courts Act and sentencing regulations, have already expanded. And then it doesn't say anything else. Oh, hang on. Sorry, have already expanded magistrate sentencing powers, effectively doubling what they can hand down, so that thousands of offences can now be kept out of jury trials. Oh, I said this was the good news. It's not. All Lammy needs to do is reclassify offences. And that's what will happen. Things will get reclassified. So political offences will become terrorist offences, things like that. Reclassify offences. And the other thing as well, yeah, so if someone's in a bracket, so you change crimes names and the type of offence. So you put them from one bracket into another. You just change the way a crime works in terms of the law. So reclassifying offences, expand summary justice, expand summary justice. That's what I was saying at the beginning. The black and the white, the pen, the summary justice. Push more cases into magistrates' courts. Issue guidance on mode of trial decisions. Much of this can be done without a new act, using a secondary legislation via statutory instrument. A jury is the only mechanism ordinary people have to stop the state from overreaching, and once it's gone, it won't come back. Now that's that person's post, and it's all I think that's actually a really good post, because what they put at the end of that post is absolutely right. Historically, the precedent is set that when governments take away freedoms from you, or rights, or however you perceive things like this, when they take things away, they don't give them back. That's why people like me are fighting so hard for free speech, because I believe it's the mother of all freedoms. And I know that if they take it, they already have taken it away, but if they take it away completely, you will never get it back. It could take 1,000 generations to get something like that back. It's a miracle we have it in the first place, in any capacity. It's why so many countries haven't and have murdered people for trying to have their free speech. So it is absolutely essential not to lose things, because when you do, that's it. You may have noticed in America that when governments change from Democrat to Republican, one of the things they have on their sort of manifesto ideas is to reverse half the policies of the last party. And they do, to please people, to please voters, and sometimes because they don't like the policy themselves. That doesn't happen in this country. They're all on the same side, because in this country, Conservatives make bad policy, and then Labour gets in, and they blame the Conservatives for making that bad policy, but they don't change it back. They continue to use that bad policy, which is exactly what's happened in the case of Starmer. But that also works the other way around. So the Labour Party, like now, are making all this terrible policy, and I don't know if politics will change, but if it's the same as it's been the last 100 years that I've looked at, then it'll be exactly the same again. It'll be exactly the same again. So we can't afford to lose any kinds of freedoms or rights when it comes to, that we really need when it comes to things like this, because once they change it, it won't change back. It's absolutely right. And again, you've only got to look at history to see that freedoms are never free, and they have to be fought for to be kept. And when you see, really, there's so many things that should be causing alarm bells in people, but we're so desensitized to all the noise that's going on now, the violence, the mainstream media narratives, the government, the rogue governments, the violence on the streets, everything. It's mind-boggling, and the crazy crap AI that doesn't work and is everywhere. It's all coronavirus. All of it is all like brain crushing for anybody. So it kind of desensitizes you to something as simple as reading this on a screen, but taking away your right to a jury is really saying the same as poor people will never be safe from us again. That's what it means. So to put it really in basic for everybody, left or right, it means poor people and middle class people will never be safe from us again. So people need to think about that, left and right. As I'm going through this is X, by the way, so as I'm going through this, there's comments I've wanted to read to you, but I just, it almost feels like plagiarism, but this one stopped me. Not because it's political content, but let's just listen. This is a woman. I'm filled with hopelessness. This government is destroying everything I once knew, was proud of in this country. There's little left of what we once knew. When you are older and remember the way things were, trust in the police, pride in education, a pride in working, etc., etc. It's hard to fault that person for feeling like that, isn't it? I think the thing worth mentioning as well is that a lot of countries don't have trial by jury. This is a very us thing. I think I don't know all the countries, but US, UK, Canada, and Australia. I don't know if there's any others. All the Commonwealth, original Commonwealth, they're the countries that have trial by jury. It's just a very us thing. It's part of our history, it's part of our culture, and it's the way that we have genuinely found a way of protecting poor people, if that, for want of a better phrase, working class people, from the government. It's no less important than the Constitution is for people in America in regards to being able to form a militia against the government if the government turns rogue, for instance. Has the same kind of weight behind it. I would submit more because of the realism of the situation. And I think it's only fair, since I was one of the people that brought it up, the national strike, to let you know how it's going on X. And it is just on X I'm talking about. There are other places where it must exist. I use this platform, YouTube, gettr and X. So I don't know how this is going on other platforms, but the Great British National Strike, as it's been called, when it was first brought on there, the numbers were modest, but they were all in the thousands, including retweets, comments, likes, views. The same post, which is obviously gets put up and reminds people and makes comments like this one, says protests and marches aren't going to stop the madness of this latest budget. Do you know what will? Yep, you guessed it. And bang, they put another picture of the same picture they keep putting up, so people know what it is because they're recognising it. And it's got the start date and the finish date, 2nd of the 2nd, 26 start, 9th of the 2nd, 26 end, and then call for a general election. Here's the problem. It's got 400 likes in 21 hours. Sounds great to a creator, but it's actually piss poor for something that, with the amount of time it's been going, those numbers are lower than what it would have been at 21 hours in the past, in say a month ago. 6.5 thousand views. I think again in the same amount of time it was doing 20, 30, 40, 50 thousand. The retweets were, I think, in the low thousands. The comments were in the high hundreds to low thousands. So it's losing momentum rather than gaining it, from my point of view. and I'll keep track of that to see if that changes. But it looks like a trend of just falling off, and I think that it's going to go the same way as the other ones that I found on the internet, which was nowhere, absolutely nowhere at all. I don't think it's even going to be attempted. And don't get me wrong, I will still support it, but I just don't think people are supporting it. I don't think it's going to be attempted. So, and I think as well, the sort of rumours going around about Starmer being out of power, when that hasn't happened yet, I think that's going to make a lot of people think that everything's going to be all right overnight. Or even if they don't, there's going to be a lot of people thinking, well, that means there's hope. And I think that will, if any, I think there'd be a lot of people that might have been desperate enough for a strike that will now feel like, no, I need to wait. You know, it was already hard to get them on board before. So with rumours like this circulating, it makes you wonder as well, if he ends up not leaving after all these rumours, it makes you end up wonder why they're being circulated. We'll have to keep an eye on that. Remember that, guys. Just remember, see what happens with all this. Because these rumours are very strong that he's going to leave. So if it ends up nothing happening, then it's worth remembering that this happened. And I would also say to you guys, prepare for a change in things that you thought you'd got away with. What I mean by that is, so at the moment, for instance, I can use X in a way that doesn't seem to be affected by the Online Safety Act, whereas platforms like Steam, a gaming platform, which is totally legal, have been ravaged by it. And now I'm beginning to see both creators, resellers, and end users, the public, now complaining that on things from Substacks to Rumble to, again, gaming platforms to all kinds of things now, as someone put here, it's creeping everywhere online. So the Online Safety Act that you thought didn't affect you or wasn't affecting you is about to start to. It's the repercussions of it are still only being sort of implemented or taking effect or building consequence, and it's just beginning to boil up now. As I said to you before, it may even cause a recession. It's been that much of a hit, especially as there's been, I think, Australia and Canada embracing the same policies. Here's something else. Someone please tell me, right? I'm telling you things. Someone tell me how they've got the gall. Someone tell me how they're not frightened of us to be able to say the things they're saying today. Keir Starmer's post today, well, the first one says they are lowering energy prices for the poor across the country. All right, that's the first thing he said today. And he does this every day, by the way. He constantly says something that they're amazing at every day. Even if something terrible has happened, he will still do it. And then the Labour Party itself, breaking, Labour will lift 450,000 children out of poverty by removing the 2-child limit. 21 hours ago. I mean, this is fatuous in some cases with some of their posts, and they go on and on and on, and then they talk about Farage, and I'm not necessarily a Farage supporter, but to try and what they're doing again, the first opportunity they get. And bear in mind, he's the biggest danger to them, is try and brand him a racist. And this is the Labour Party, not activists for the Labour Party, the actual Labour Party, trying to brand him a racist without saying the word. And it's wrong. It's wrong. Whatever your views on Nigel Farage of the Reform Party, he is not that. He's not that. He never has been. It's just insane they're still getting away with this. How do they still get away with this? Yeah, a lot of the other stuff has been about the farmers, which you've probably seen because the mainstream media are covering that more than other stories. One thing I will tell you just briefly as well, I found out one thing Grok is good at: humour. It's pretty good at humour. Other than that, it's useless at everything else. That's all I'm going to say about AI today. I'm absolutely sick of it. But like I say, I was up till 5 in the morning doing some animations, doing some stuff. I know some of you don't like it, but some of you have been asking for more. So the first one, I'll tell you what the first one's going to be. It's probably going to be Owen Jones, because I've already got something done. It's not going to be the funniest, but it might be kind of cutting and might be good to open up for maybe a little short series or something. So I'm working on that at the moment. And there's another one that, one, I don't know how it's going to come out, and two, if it comes out good, I don't want to let you know. So we'll see how that one goes. But yes, I'm working on those two at the moment, but that had me up to 5 this morning. It's a bit of a bummer. Thursday's on my day for doing podcast stuff, and maybe I'll find a second wind, but I've got a feeling I'm going to be catching an hour's sleep and maybe taking an easy day, because it's been a few too many of these nights of planning to go to sleep at about, I don't know, 11 o'clock, and then just because I'm trying to fix a problem, is, you know, or fix a problem, video editing or whatever else, it just takes hours. You know, somebody said to me that perhaps I should go and show more behind the scenes stuff, because although it may not have mainstream appeal at the moment, more people would be interested if I kept doing it. I wasn't so sure about it, but maybe I will. Maybe I will on the other channel. I'll show you some more of what goes on behind it, because there are some exciting things that happen, but there's also a lot of realism that, while it may not be stuff you'd want to rewatch, might be good to see once to understand what it is us activists and podcast creators and that do, to claim that we're spending so much time doing this, so much work on it and everything else, because it's an easy thing to claim. You know, we turn the camera off, you don't know any difference. So, and also as well, just what comes easily, what doesn't. We tend to forget you're on that side of the camera. If you're not doing this, you don't know what goes into it. And we kind of assume that you do, just because, I don't know why, because we're stupid. I honestly, because we're not really thinking outside the box. And it's, you know, we forget that we get a creator studio and all this other stuff that feeds us information about YouTube. You don't. Or you don't have the interest, because why would you if you're not running a channel? I certainly wouldn't know half of what I know about YouTube if it weren't for having a channel. So, you know, so it's up to us to let you know when it's important. So I hope I've done that. And I think maybe one of the last thoughts, if not the last thought today, is, when are we going to talk about the Muslims coming from Russia and places around Russia? When are we going to address them? We're addressing the Muslims coming from the Middle East, right? We are addressing that. Some of us are. But what about the Muslims coming now from Russia? They come into countries like America and I wouldn't say as much Britain, and they are, like, for instance, the UFC is becoming dominated with these Dagestani fighters, and Dagestan's only got a population of about 3 million, and yet they're dominating an entire sport. Many of them are cousins. I'll leave it at that. They're very relatable to each other. But they also bring the religion of peace with them and have the same ideologies. At first they seem like, oh no, they're different because they're more modern. And then it's only when you see them in their recreational activities and other things, when it's not to do with the company they're fighting for, you see them supporting terrorists and all kinds of people who are really, really bad. And these are famous sports people that you may know and love. One person I'll give you a name of, if you know fighting, Habib Nurmagomedov, who is considered to be one of the greatest fighters of all time, is up to his elbows in crime, filth, and even crypto scams, and he's considered to be one of the cleanest fighters to ever have done it in terms of drug cheating and in terms of honor and personality. They all talk about honor and they're most dishonorable people, and there is a flow of these people coming from Russia, but they are all radical Islamists. And I do think it's a problem we need to talk about at some point, because the numbers may not be as big, but these people are getting into high positions of power, not really pretending not to believe this stuff, but kind of doing a bit techie by not mentioning it. And then when they get where they need to get, then they're opening up with their beliefs. And then people wonder how they've got the mayor that they've got in America. This is how. Tequila, my friends. You need to learn about it in America very quickly. So I said to you there is very few countries that had trial by jury. Well, somebody's compiled a list of people who halted the people's trial by jury in the past, historically. Hitler, 1938, Mussolini, 1931, Stalin, 1918, Franco, 1939, Mao, 1949, Castro, 1959, Pinochet, 1973, Hussein, 1979, Mugabe, 2000s, Chavez, 2009, Lenin, 1917, Starmer, 2025. Obviously, Starmer has to see this through, but that's the company he's keeping. And while some of these are kind of shock jock kind of tactics, this is real. It's a fact. And like I say, it's been a very select few countries, mostly our Commonwealth countries, that have had this trial by jury. We have been used to be the leaders in this, so just to give some context, I'm not going to comment on the budget today. I feel like I need, when something like the budget happens, I like to get more professional opinions on my own before I start to formulate too much of one myself and get ahead of myself. So I like it broken down properly and be able to sit and read it properly and stuff like that. So I'm sorry I couldn't be with you live, but as I said, I didn't know if I was going to run out of energy on a podcast, or all kinds of things could go wrong when I'm feeling as tired as I am at the moment. So I thought this was a safer way to do it. I'm not going to type this up because this is just the equivalent of a sit down, walk and talk. That's what I want to do from now on, is sit down and talk to you, and only do walk and talks in need to situations. Because like I say, these days I've got a dog, and it just doesn't gel together trying to hold my thoughts. So I'd rather sit down and talk to you, but live preferably, so we can talk backwards and forwards. But just to give you an idea of what's going on next, the current sort of prevailing thoughts going on in there, and my own thoughts towards it. And obviously, as always, I am interested in your views, opinions, anything, especially anything you feel like I've missed that I should have mentioned, or anything that you feel I dropped the ball on, or that you could add to, that you feel would be information that people would benefit from seeing in the comments. Would appreciate that very much. And thumbs up. Please help me get my main channel to 20,000. I'm trying to bargain with Google at the moment, and I've always been stopped at 19,998. If I could just get it over that 20k, it would mean something to me if I lose this, but if I win it, it may actually help get me there. So, and it would be a milestone that I've been so close to so many times. I'm sick of it. I just want to break it. Even if I fall back under it, I just want to break it once, Anyway, thank you for joining me. I'm sorry it's not the normal kind of podcast I normally do, but I felt this was a safer option for getting what I wanted to get across to you without meandering for hours or losing battery or anything else. I appreciate you all. I appreciate the mods as well for the jobs that they've been doing. Thank you so much. I'm Tom Fury. This is Zero News, and I'm calling it a day for now.
I try to build bridges, I try to get along. Mobile phones, WhatsApp tone, going all day long. Where's the point to me? We gotta make it. Yeah, let's fucking take it. We are the change, or we are doomed to stay the same. Oh, yeah, the same. Oh, yeah, the same. How will they remember your name? Yeah, how will your children remember your name? Can you look them in the eye, say I tried, or will you look away in shame? Oh yeah, can you look at them knowing way back when you did nothing good, even when you knew you should? Come on, my friends, we are better than this. We are a fist from way back when. We are the Western men, but we are alone now. We are dying, yeah, oh, we are dying now. My friends are in trouble now.